So you throw a pair, just take it and move on. Do 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 da do da dee do do dee. Yo, Fluffs, what's up? It's good to see you guys. Thank you all for coming. I'm glad you could make it. Vicky, good to see you. Do you have PJ Cruikshank?
Oh, good. That's still flying. Jesus still loves us.
Hey, man. Michael Korn, what's up, Peter Dragon? How you guys doing? And we are live, I think. Yo, Fluffs, what's up? It's good to see you all. Tonight's going to be a very triggersome stream for some people. We've already been having some triggered numpties like Sean Hawkins coming in.
You know, Flatzoid, both you and Dave are just...
Get out of my pocket!
You are too much of a coward.
And Craig, if you beat the Fallacy King.
You stupid woman.
That's gonna be an interesting one tonight. Yo, Fluffs, what's up? It's good to see you all tonight. Thank you all for coming. It's going to be an exciting evening. We do have a special guest here tonight, Scott Gaug. It's good to see you, man. And we do just have in the background Michael Kahn, PJ Cruikshank, Ryan, and Jeff. Good to see you guys.
Hello.
Yo.
Good to
Hope
see
you're all
you.
doing well.
Hello.
So yeah, Scott, it's good to see you, man. I'm happy you contacted me for this. You say you got some questions and things. So it's not, guys. It's not gonna be like a normal debater. It's more gonna be a discussion-based stream. So yeah, but yeah, Scott, tell everybody what's up. How's it going? And if you got any shout-outs you want to do, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm doing great. We're just in finals week here in at my university, so we're just kind of grinding for that. But I thought I'd take the time to do this because this is really fun. But I guess I'll shout out my friends Tristan and Nick. They're here with me. They're my roommates. They're here right now, so they're watching. They're supporting me. So
Hello,
We're all-
Tristan. Hello, Nick.
Hello, Tristan. Hello, Nick.
Hi,
Good
guys.
to hear about you guys. It's good
Good
to
to
see you
see
guys
you.
are supporting Scott, by the way.
Absolutely.
Awesome stuff, man.
Bless you guys.
So so I guess we'll start. So I guess I first want to ask, like, what caused you guys to believe in the flat Earth in the very beginning? Like, because I know most flat earthers were once globe earthers, right? Like, no one starts out believing that the Earth is flat. So, like, what caused you to believe that? Was it like a slow transition? Was it like instantaneous?
For if you're asking us, well, for me, it wasn't slow at all. As soon as I mean, always through childhood, I had questions about, like, doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Being on a globe Earth and them down in Australia upside down, antipodal to us and all that, gravity and all that never made sense. So when I can't remember what it was, but it was probably Eric Dubai or somebody else. But I'd definitely seen Eric Dubai's 200 proofs in that. So as soon as I seen something like that and done a little bit of research, the penny just dropped. It wasn't a hard thing for me. No cognitus. It was just like, wow, that's why I've been wondering all these years what's going on in this world. Do you know what I mean? That we don't see. Do you know what I mean? But people are there behind the scenes. You know what I mean? They're just pulling strings and that and hiding things from us and trying to hide God. So yeah, it wasn't a slow transition for me, Scott. It was just a quick thing. It was really quick. The penny dropped as soon as I seen some proofs and researched that a little bit. The penny dropped, and then from there it's been a learning process. You know what I mean? I'm not up to Flat's standard, that's for sure. But yeah, from there it's been a learning process, and especially being on here, this has helped me a lot with it, and others.
What do you mean flat standard?
Because you know everything about it. Dude. You know pretty much everything there is to do. I don't. I mean, I know the logical things and all that. I don't know all the equations and stuff like that, and all the scientific terminologies and all that kind of stuff. But I understand it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just mean that I'm not as good at you. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, man, you bringing yourself down. You know a lot, man.
No, I'm not being self-deprecating. I just know that I know my standard. I know I'm not. You must you've taught me a lot since being on here. I mean, I thought I knew quite a bit before I come on here, but when I come on here, I was like, wow, the stuff I didn't know about at all. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. I just think you had a higher standard than me. That's what I mean. I'm not being self-deprecating that way. I'm not putting myself down.
I'm a kind of person that likes to research things.
Yeah, you do.
I've always been that way. Even when I was younger, I used to like looking at, those little science textbooks and things. I used to love those things, like, when they gave you the children's magazines where you had to try and do your own experiments.
Yeah,
I loved those type of things. That attracted me when I was younger. But for me, it was quite a quick transition, but I wouldn't say straight away. As well. Because I studied art, I was very involved in, getting pummeled in with perspective and all that stuff. Because if you're never going to get your major in art if you don't understand perspective. And one day, I just came across flat Earth stuff, but it just stayed in the back side of my mind. I didn't really bother about it. And when I went down to the beach on holiday one day, I was looking out and I saw a boat there, and I was like, "But yeah, I can explain this using perspective and how things can just, I can demonstrate this." And anyway, it kind of just clicked from there. When I went home, I demonstrated and I saw, this is just reality. Something happened from there, it hooked me. And then I started deeper and deeper, and then that's how I became a flat earther.
Yeah, for me, it was
awesome.
I was told about it when I was about 8. And then it was told to me, and I believed it right away because they showed me passages in the Bible that supported it. Of course, and I went home and told my dad, and he was like, "Oh no, that's not true, and don't listen to those people and all this." And so I kind of spent a lot of years not knowing like what to believe, but I always in the back of my mind thought, well, it's got to be flat. It makes sense to me, based on what they told me. But the weird part is that they also told me about businesses and things that supported bad things and that were putting things, just things about that we talk about now every day, but they were talking about this in the 80s. So I find it very interesting that this stuff was known, all this kind of theory stuff, and this has been around for 20, 30 years. It didn't just start, but it took me until, I don't know, 2000, somewhere around 99 or around there, when 9/11 happened. And that's when I started investigating that. Then that's when I came upon all the evidence for the Earth is actually flat. And I was blown away. I was like, wow, there's actually a group of people that have evidence for it. Whoa, I didn't know that. So I got involved in it, but I've known since I was a kid.
Yeah, man.
Okay. All right. All right. So, how do you guys think? So, what are you guys' thoughts on the recent solar eclipse? You guys, I don't know where you guys are located, so I don't know how much of it you got to see, but I got to see like 50% coverage, which is pretty cool. So, like, what do you guys think happened there?
Well, with me, we can't see it yet at all.
No.
But what interested me was the one before that. I think there was one like 2-3 weeks before that. And there were many flat earthers that tried to go and actually observe this so-called solar eclipse. And no one was able to observe it. And I think it's very telling that an eclipse is something that people don't know.
It was a lunar eclipse, that one, man.
Oh, that was a lunar eclipse, yeah. But we on the eclipses. So I was just thinking, that's just something that's really interesting. Because the globe was supposed to be, how can I say, presenting it as evidence for a globe as they predicted it. You know what I mean? But it never showed up. But what's troubling to me is when you talk about it, the globe side just act like you've never spoken about it, like you don't ask about it. But for this last one, the solar eclipse, you get the people that say it's the moon eclipsing the sun. I just don't buy it because you don't see any moon before it actually gets to the sun. You're supposed to actually see how light works in reflection if the moons are supposed to be a physical rock. If you have enough exposure, you don't really need it. It's supposed to be showing that physical rock. There's nothing there. Now you get the people like Red Rhetoric and stuff saying, oh, look, I've got the moon as it's fully eclipsed. But it's easy to fake that. Especially because a lot of the time guys are using stacks. So they can use different photos on top of each other to make it seem that way. But that's just what I say.
Yeah, I mean, moon. I am not sure what happens with eclipse. I just don't think, like Flat said, if it was a rock in the sky, you know what I mean? it just doesn't seem feasible to me. You don't see like it says, you don't see it coming beforehand or leaving afterwards. It's always just the eclipse you see. You don't see anything beforehand or afterwards. To me, it's something it doesn't. Like was watching that thing. Me and Michael was watching that thing from Indy 007, I think it is something like that. Today, and it could be some kind of body that we don't see that absorbs light and we don't see it. You know what I mean? Because we don't see it pass. We see it pass, we don't see it coming or going. You know. So yeah, it just doesn't
But
work
also,
for me.
didn't they say the shadow size was different for this one compared to the one 7 years ago?
But I remember when that lunar eclipse you were on about, Alan was setting up for it to go live, and I checked it up, and it was meant to be 12 hours before. You know, so I don't know what was going on. He was setting up for it at a certain time. It wasn't happening. He couldn't see it anyway. But I checked up the time on it, and where Alan was at, it was meant to be 12 hours before. But when he checked it, it was meant to be the time he was doing it. Yeah.
Well, what do you think about it, Scott?
I think that the moon eclipsed the sun. That's what I think, and that's what I thought I observed. Because like the thing is that
Okay.
the days after, like the day after the eclipse, the moon was close to the sun. Like I think it was a little behind it. Like the sun set first, and then there was the moon, and it was almost a new moon, but not quite. There was a little sliver, which would mean that the moon moved in its orbit around the Earth just slightly. So to me, um, that's what it appears like to me. And you couldn't see the moon during the day because it was, really close to the sun, and you can't really see something that's dark next to something that's so bright like the sun. But that's what I saw. That's what I think happened. I should have taken a picture of it, but my phone camera is kind of trash.
Because
Oh,
you
you
know
have a
what,
picture?
the thing that bothers me. You know, when they have the new moons, for a whole few
Mhm.
days, this rock in the sky is just gone. No one can see it.
Well, yeah, because a new moon is when the dark side of the moon is facing Earth, and there's no light being reflected from the sun to the Earth, so no light's getting to us, so we can't see it.
But that I call
Like
bullshit.
it's hard to explain
Wait,
because
what?
Because you're supposed to have
Can
radiated
I
light
just,
from the
can I
Earth
just
onto
jump
the
in
moon.
quickly? Let me just, you don't see dark side at the moon because it's supposed to be locked, so we always see the same side.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah, so you see the same face of so the scent is dark side of the moon is kind of misleading. So you're right, the moon is tidally locked to the Earth. We always see the same face, but the moon rotates around the Earth, which is what gives it rotates around the Earth every like 29 days, which is why we get lunar cycles every 29 days. So it's hard. It's kind of hard to describe with words. It's easier to draw a picture or like look up a picture, but I can't draw it, and I'm a terrible artist.
Sorry,
So
I just want to jump in here. Okay,
go ahead.
the moon during a new moon. Okay,
Mhm.
you supposedly can't see it. All right. Now, how come where the moon would basically be located in its orbit during the evening? Why is it? It should be covering up stars, and it's not. It doesn't, like, if you follow the path where it would be, there's no covering up of stars or anything. So it should be shadowing. You should see like a shadow going around over the stars, but you don't.
Yeah.
Well, the
Do you
moon's very
understand that?
small in the sky. Yeah, I'm sure you could,
No, no. It doesn't matter how. Okay, saying the moon is small. No, sorry. The shadow, the size of the moon in the sky, it doesn't change. Okay, so that shadow, if you put it like that size that you usually see when it's a full moon. Take that size and put it across the sky in the same direction that it normally travels when it's a full moon. There is no shadow covering any stars, none. So therefore, it's not there.
So have you like during a new moon when it transits the sky, have you seen like stars through where the moon should be?
I've seen
Have you
stars
like
through like like when it's a crescent.
Mhm.
I've seen stars through the moon when it's a crescent.
Me too.
So I don't know. How do you explain that?
I've even got a video on my channel of that.
Oh, I think I've seen that, or I think I
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
something similar to that. So
But if it's a
maybe
rock, how can you see through it?
so you can't see through a rock. You're right. So either it's a star that's like right next to the moon, and it looks like maybe that's where the shadow should be, or it's maybe like a mountain on the moon, top of a crater or something that's
No.
just getting a little bit of light, and maybe it looks like a star. But yeah, I don't remember the photo. I'd love to take a look at it. And I have a telescope, so if I next new moon, I'll try to observe that. But I mean I've never observed it, so I can't really say anything about it.
Last year,
It's,
I woke up at 3 or 4 in the morning, right? I couldn't sleep. I couldn't figure out why. I come outside and I was sitting here in a chair and I was looking up at the sky. And about an hour or two after I sat out here, I was, playing on my phone and watching videos and whatever. And I kept looking up at the sky because I always do. I like to keep an eye on the sky. And I noticed that right above the tree that's right here from where I sit in my backyard, right above it, I saw the little thumbnail of the moon there. And I thought, wow, that's small. I don't think I've ever seen the moon that small of a sliver. And I looked down and I went to turn my camera on and take a recording of it, and it disappeared. It was gone. I mean, literally just gone. I couldn't see the shadow of it. I couldn't see it didn't like phase out. It just vanished in like 3 seconds. And I was like, what the heck happened? And I looked around. I went in the house. I went and got online. I looked. I can't find anything about it. No one says that again. But then I have seen other video of it disappearing, but it was different. This in their video, it kind of faded down and it shrunk into a small like flat thing and then disappeared. I literally telling you, it literally vanished right out of the sky. And I want to get a video of it this year. And I'm telling you, that convinces me that whatever that is up there, whatever the moon is, it's not a solid object.
no,
Yeah, I
don't
think
believe
it
so.
falls down again to
It's just my
we
opinion.
don't really know what the moon is, and
Yeah.
we don't make a claim to know what the moon is, so it's not really our burden to prove
Well, we can
it.
guess, but I
But
mean,
there's a lot of
right.
inconsistencies with the claim that is from the globe,
Flat,
and that's our issue
Yeah.
with it. Yeah.
flat. Conspiracy pundits asking if he can come in for a few seconds.
I don't think there's space
You
though.
want me to
Well,
drop down?
I'll drop out because I need to just do something anyway for 5 minutes. So I'll drop out.
Okay,
All
sure.
right then.
Yeah.
Let
Hi,
me know,
Brian
though.
Leakey. Long time no see, man. Good to see you, dude.
Okay. There's the link, conspiracy man. If Scott says it's fine, you can come in for 2 seconds or something. There we go. Yeah. So Scott, what makes you think that it is the moon though?
So like I see, you see craters on the moon, and it just looks it just looks like a big rock in the sky, like it's got craters on it, it's got mountains, I've seen the moon. I have a telescope, and I've seen it like pretty up close, and it just looks like it would
Yeah, it's a
be
beautiful thing.
solid rock. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we can all agree that it's a beautiful thing.
Would
It's
you
cool.
would you agree that they think the moon looks like it's rusting?
Rusting? Like red?
Yeah, they're saying it's becoming almost looking like it's starting to rust. Apparently, the last few years.
How can it rust?
Very
There's no
odd.
oxygen. There's nothing to oxidize.
Exactly. It's just
I've
a joke
never
they're
heard
coming
that.
up with because it looks like it's rusting.
Yeah,
Hey,
maybe it
Pundit,
looks like
what's
it's
up, man?
rusting during a lunar eclipse.
I don't know.
What, Pundit, what does kick dead wood mean?
What?
Huh?
Pundit, he said something to Vicky about kicking dead wood. I don't know what that means. She doesn't know what it means.
Can you hear us, Pundit?
It might be like beating a dead horse, maybe.
Talking, but we can hear you, Pundit, but you're really, really low. Really, really low.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
I can hear him just, but faintly.
I can't even hear.
Can you hear me now?
Have you got your mic?
Yeah, there we
Yes,
go.
yes, can hear me now.
Okay. Hey, Pundit.
We did hear you.
Okay, while he's sorting his mic issues up, everybody in chat, can you please hit the like, share the show? Appreciate you all coming in. Awesome to have you here. And hit hit the likes for Scott because he is in and he's an awesome guy and he's very respectful. I really do respect him for that.
Check out his channel too.
I appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
So yeah,
Oh, wait, I gotta plug my laptop in. Hold on.
someone just tried to join. Okay,
I think you understand what that means.
I hear a
yeah,
voice.
now we can hear you, Bruno. What's up, man?
I'm saying let me on and somebody take a call so I can get
Yeah,
on.
yeah, I know what it means now. We've just
Oh
checked
my
it. I
God.
know what it means now.
Am I gonna get this? Look? It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm asking somebody to take a dive so I can come on.
You are on.
They did.
You're on live, dude.
I only asked what it meant. That was all. I didn't know what the phrase meant. I only asked the question, dude. There was no offense.
Look, I've just joined, right? I write to Flats from time to time on email.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked me to come on to be around, and so I've asked somebody who's sitting there not doing much if they could jump off.
And they did.
They did.
They
Michael left you, man.
I only asked what the phrase meant. I didn't know what it meant. That's all.
Who am I talking
It
to?
was only a question.
Sorry, I apologise.
PJ.
Oh, sorry, PJ.
PJ.
Are you in the UK, mate?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I'm out in China, so it's 3:23 a.m. for me. So.
Okay. Okay, no problems, man. I
It's
just wanted to
12
know
noon
what
for
it
me.
meant. That's all.
Oh, no, it's no disrespect. It's somebody was sitting in the chat. If they're sitting in the chat just with their finger up their ass, Flats has asked me to come on from time to time, so I just happen to be here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
fine.
feeling
But,
back now because. Okay.
That's fine.
PJ,
That's fine.
PJ,
I just wanted to know what the saying meant. That's all.
PJ, calm down, please.
I'm not uncalm, dude. I'm
Well, what
fine.
did you want to say,
Fine.
Pundit? What's
Can
up, man?
Can I put my headphones back in? I'm feeding back.
Yeah, go for it.
I think there's a miscommunication somewhere.
Yeah, there is. I'm not uncalm. I'm fine.
Sorry, mate. I'm
just saying
feeding back.
Okay.
Is everything fine now? Okay. Wow, this is exciting. I'm going to quickly get you something up, Scott, about the rusting moon.
Can anybody still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah, I can. Flat. I can hear you, but I'm feeding back at the moment.
Yeah, we can't hear the feedback though.
Yeah, I can hear you right now, Flats. I've got my headphones in. I don't understand.
Okay. Yeah. What did you want to say, mate? It's good to see you, by the way.
Turn the YouTube channel off. That way you won't hear the double. Sometimes that's an issue because the headphones will play both.
Hello, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Hello, gentlemen.
Yeah.
What's up?
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh,
There's
you
your
probably
answer.
have to change your audio settings.
Hello.
Hello, yeah, we can hear you.
I think he's
Scott,
listening
there's
to
your answer,
YouTube
by the way.
I'm sorry. What'd you say?
I said, there's your
Right,
answer, by the way.
Flats
Why it's
seems to be
seeming to rust. They're hypothesizing that the oxidation of iron on the lunar surface by oxygen from Earth's upper atmosphere that has been continuously entrained into the lunar surface by solar wind.
Yeah. So like tiny, like small amounts of Earth's atmosphere leave, and I guess maybe it just happened to hit the moon, but it doesn't look like that. That's got to be like enhanced or something.
This is how people take photos lately a lot. They when they do, I think HDR videos, they get photos. They get this.
They're composites, right? They use like 50 or 60 photos and they add them together.
Yeah.
Maybe it's only like a little bit of rust.
Yeah, they're just
But,
going to blame it on climate change too.
But
couldn't it
you
just be the
do know,
Atmos
I think it
just getting in the
was
way?
2019 when they actually declared the moon in Earth's atmosphere.
Well, I didn't hear anything about that, but I mean, I guess it doesn't.
I did.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know how far Earth's atmosphere extends. Like the livable part, what is it? The troposphere, whatever it's called. Like the part where we can breathe. You know, we won't, die of oxygen asphyxiation. Like that's like a very small part. And then anything like it keeps getting thinner and thinner. And I'm assuming it gets so thin. Like there's, one oxygen atom every cubic meter or whatever. Maybe a few
Yeah,
oxygen atoms.
Because they're claiming the moon is in Earth's exosphere.
Yeah, so like Earth's atmosphere
Basically, they're
is
admitting that it's
probably
attached to the dome.
extends really far, but like it's not any meaningful atmosphere, but maybe a few oxygen atoms hit the moon and like it causes a few particles to oxidize. Because like it, in the ISS and other low Earth satellites, eventually their orbits decay, or they have, if they want to keep the orbits in orbit, they have to do a couple burns. They have to like fire their thrusters, and because the oxygen atoms, the very small parts of the atmosphere will slow them down a little bit, like very very small, but like it adds up over a few years. So they have to speed back up so they can stay in orbit. At least what we've been told.
But I mean, what's the moon supposed to be made out of, though?
Hold what? Sorry,
Just so you know, oxygen isn't the total cause of rust, eh? It's a combination of the air.
Yeah.
Like there's
Water.
moisture and stuff like
Yeah,
that. And the moon apparently is devoid of moisture. So,
I mean, it's got like a tiny bit, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty much devoid of. Like the moon, like you could say it technically has that, but like it's so thin that like it's negligible, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
But the moon is made of so I think the moon is made of similar material to Earth. That's what like the Apollo missions found. They said they found that it was made of similar materials as Earth.
And petrified wood.
I haven't heard anything about petrified wood on the moon.
One of the rocks that they brought back from Apollo 11 mission, they gave it to what country was it? Sweden or something like that.
Yeah.
They gave it to them, and then they had it analyzed, and it was petrified wood.
I think it was the Dutch.
It was the Dutch, yeah. So it was a country, like one of the countries in that area. They gave them a rock from the moon, and it was from Buzz Aldrin or Neil Armstrong, and it was made of petrified wood. So how do you explain that?
I don't know. I'm looking at it now. I haven't heard of that, but I'll read about that later. A reported moon rock.
Because you know what's really odd with me with the moon rocks, though? They supposedly have so many samples, yet no one can test it. And the only one that has ever been tested has been petrified wood.
Well, they definitely distributed it to other places, but like they did bring back a couple 100 pounds of moon rock, but they had to like they can't just like give it out to willy nilly because there's only a limited supply. So I would assume that they can't just give it out to everyone.
But I'm sure they can just go get more.
Yeah, well, I wish, but we don't have a moon rock.
Don't you think that's a red flag, though, that they're not able to just get more? I mean, they could do it 50 years ago, no issues, with really old technology.
Yeah, well, we did it with old technology, we do have the technology now. But I guess two things we don't have are money and motivation to go.
I highly doubt that, though. The money's not the issue. Look at the Artemis program. They keep on. As soon as they're going to have the launch again, they have to reschedule it and push it out another 2 years because of danger issues.
Yeah, well,
Pundit, you're quiet again.
Is there any way we can talk off of the stream for a moment?
Yeah, and there's also we already went to the moon, Because the whole point of going to the moon before was to beat the Russians, right? And like, we were in the space race, and we went to the moon. We went a few times. You know, we said, "Hey, Russians, we beat you," and the president, the government defunded NASA a lot, and then they just didn't have any money.
But
And they only get official, like government reports say they only got like $19 billion a year, which might seem like a lot, but to make a rocket that's pretty much nothing, which is why it's taking them so long. And it's gotten to the point, the first Artemis launch, which I saw in person, which was phenomenal, but um, they reused three of the four engines were actually on one of the shuttles. Like they're like recycling parts. If you look at the SLS, it's basically just a modified shuttle, which is what they've been reduced to because there's just no money. And Elon Musk has been doing stuff, but they're getting setbacks.
So you can
That's
say
what I
we. So you see all the issues we have then to say that yeah, we're going to the moon, everything, and why we've ever been to the moon, because it's always an excuse.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't look good, but just because that they're not going doesn't mean that it's not real. It's just it's just not a reason to go anymore. There's no competition. There's no drive anymore,
There's
and
more than enough
definitely
reason to
people
go
want to
now, because think about it, the flat Earth community is growing daily, and how many of these people are the taxpayers to NASA? So NASA gets taxpayer money, and the people are becoming flat earthers, and they don't really want to pay the tax anymore to NASA. So I think it is a big issue for them. Wouldn't you agree?
I mean, I don't know how much of an issue the flat Earth is to NASA, but I hope they go to the moon just as much as I'm sure you guys. Like, I want to see them go to the moon so bad. The Artemis launch was what, 2 years ago now? 1.5 years
Well,
ago?
supposed to be this year again, and they've pushed it back another 2 years.
Yeah, so
Jeremy
I
Burns,
don't really know.
thank you for your $20 super chat, man. Really appreciate the heart. You rock, man.
I mean, I'll ask my brother. My brother worked for NASA.
Okay, but you see how NASA works, though. Do you know that they were first doing water, deep sea aeronautics before they did space work? Do you know that?
I'm sorry, say that again. Oh, I'm sorry.
NASA, when they started, they were doing Earth-based sciences. They were doing the ocean exploration, and then they moved on to space. Do you know
It
that?
was aquanautics, yeah.
I don't know. I thought NASA was created. It was like created in the 50s to combat the Russians.
No, they've actually before the aeronautics was created in the 50s, but they were doing deep sea investigations and stuff, and then one day they just decided not to do it anymore. Let's go to the sky. I don't know if you've ever heard of. They had a famous experiment that they did where they tried to get dolphins to talk, to communicate with humans.
I've heard of that, yeah.
There was a whole big story with this one woman. She moved in with one of the dolphins and gave him hand jobs every day. It's quite weird.
Yeah. I don't know what that's about.
Well, that's definitely one way to get them to talk.
Yeah, I'll say.
And Matthew, thank you for your $5 super chat, man. Really appreciate it. Says, thanks for telling the truth. Keep going. Yeah. Appreciate it, man.
I think this conspiracy pundit wanted to talk off stream for a minute, no, because he can't be heard. But I've got nowhere for him to go and talk to. He's saying drop a link so we can talk off stream.
Discord, maybe.
I've got nowhere for him. I don't use it. I haven't got Discord on here.
Or you can maybe set up a StreamYard and you can quickly just go with him in StreamYard. Maybe you can do that. Or email him.
Is he good? Hold on.
You'll have to drop out of restream.
Yeah. But yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but Scott, there's a lot of things with NASA that is red flag stuff. That's how we can't just really take everything they say. I mean, have you ever seen an actual demonstration yet where people can go into a vacuum with a spacesuit on and survive?
Yeah, they do testing with like pressure suits and stuff in vacuums.
Can you show us any of these?
On Earth? Yeah, on Earth. Let me see if I can find something.
The only
We
one
want
that
to
they
show the
did
we
was
want to show the one at
first
James
experiment,
May
bug
that's
died.
been debunked thoroughly many times, because do you know when they have James May in that suit doing that, they got two of the officers standing in there with him, bare skinned, just with an air mask on. And I think you know
That
what happens
I
when you put yourself in a vacuum.
haven't seen that. I saw a video. I think maybe it was MythBusters. I don't know, but it was someone in a pressure suit, and they put a beaker of water next to him, and they slowly decrease the
That's the
pressure, and
one
the
I'm
water
talking
starts
about.
boiling.
That's the one I'm talking about. They're actually in his compartment. They have two officers standing in there with him, and they only just got their mask on. They got nothing
Maybe
else.
do you think that might have been a test? Maybe it was decreasing the oxygen, not just the air pressure. So those maybe were just
But
oxygen
decreasing
masks.
oxygen is decreasing the pressure, though. You see, the thing is, when they put that glove on the pipe, they actually put it on a pipe. It's easy just to blow air through there to blow it up, and then to make water boil, it's not that hard either. There's a lot of things you can do too. It's a gimmick trick. That's my point. But when they did show an actual, like I say, demonstration where they tried to actually show someone in a vacuum chamber using it, the guy almost died. He says straight away when his pipe ruptured, he started feeling his tongue boil, and the blood rushed to his head, and he passed out. They had to help him straight away. And
Yeah,
that
that sounds
wasn't
about right.
even in a high vacuum.
Yeah, I mean that sounds about right if you were exposed to a vacuum.
Yeah, but that's the only one that we can find. We can't find any actual tests of these suits. The other issues we have with the suits are you would understand that. Do you know how the spacesuits are made? Have you ever looked into it?
I did a
Looks like
little
it's
bit.
made
I
out of
know
cloth.
that a bunch of layers, right? You got like thermal insulation, and you got like Kevlar for general protection. You have a bunch of other. Yeah, it's like a really big, bulky suit.
But it's all cloth.
Kevlar,
though.
really?
What?
It's all
What'd you say?
it's all cloth, and it's held with some seals and a rid and a zip. Have you ever heard of?
I don't know much about
Have
space
you
suit.
ever? I don't know. Have you ever taken something and tried to keep the air inside it, and it's just got that very tiny microscopic holes? A balloon, for instance. You've blown up a balloon, you've just left it, and eventually it gets flat because the air still seeps through those very small, fine microfiber holes.
Yeah, but that takes a few days. Like
Yeah,
they're
but
not
that's not
in.
even.
They're not. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, but think about it now with this with a spacesuit. A spacesuit, it's cloth. It's got holes in between all its woven strands. The air will seek equilibrium as soon as it's in set to a vacuum. So it's going to go through that through all the layers of material. Not to mention the big zipper that's holding the material together at the back. A zipper is not airtight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about spacesuit testing. I'll definitely look into it, but I mean, I would imagine that it's not just like a bunch of t-shirts. Like,
It's just a
put
whole
together.
bunch of different layered materials on top of each other, woven into each other, and the only things they have as real couplings are for the gloves and for the the heads and the torso and stuff. But it's still got a large zip at the back, and the rest is still just material. You can take any material and stick it in a vacuum, and it will always have outgassing. The gas that was inside will always seep through the material because it seeks equilibrium.
Yeah, sure. So, but like the balloon, for example, that took. I mean, I know what happens with that. Like the air eventually seeps out, but that takes a really long time. The astronauts, they're out in space, not for days on end. They'll maybe be out there for like 8 hours. I'm sure their suits lose a little pressure, but it's not anything to be concerned with.
Yeah, but that's the issue, though. Because of the second law of thermodynamics, it means they'll seek instantaneously. It's not just going to be taking time to happen.
Well, why would it not take time to happen?
Because there's a lot of holes. that small little microscopic hole is going to become bigger and bigger and bigger until it's a huge hole straight away. It's not going to just say, oh, let me just, it's like taking a tire and you're puncturing a tire. If there's a lot of pressure inside that tire, it's going to tear that hole larger as it escapes. It's going to be exactly the same with a spacesuit.
Oh, so you're saying it's gonna be like exponential kind of thing, like a runaway train almost.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think the pressure that fabric has to take from the inside based on the surface area compared to the outer. Remember, here on Earth, we actually got pressure pushing down on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Where in a vacuum, well, 10 to the minus 17 tall, there's no pressure pushing back. So everything from inside is pushing outwards. Yes, they say, okay, they've only set it to 0.01, so it only mimics 14.7 as you would on Earth. But that gas is still expanding. It's the same as if you take a balloon in a vacuum chamber, you see it expanding. It will always expand because it needs to fill the available space. That's how gas behavior works.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at spacesuits now. It says they have 11 layers. So, it would take a while for air to escape 11 layers. And there's also pressure components designed to keep that air in.
Okay. Do
I'm
you hear
assuming,
yourself? Sorry, you said it'll take a while for the air to escape. Well, when you have a vacuum, basically the pressure inside the suit is going to be pushing outward and it has nothing to push against because you're in a vacuum. That air is going to violently try to escape to become equilibrium to the other side of the suit. Then that's why you can't have a vacuum next to the Earth either, because all the air on Earth would be gone, especially if it's been around for supposedly, like they say, billions of years. Right?
Mm-hmm. Well,
all of that air would be gone.
Discussion. We'll get to that later. But no, I'm saying that the atmosphere is we'll get to that later. I want to talk about the spacesuits though, because I agree. There's definitely a big pressure differential or whatever you want to call it. You have a spacesuit, 11 layers, and then the vacuum of space. But that doesn't mean it's gonna rip apart immediately. I mean, the spacesuit's made of very strong material, and I'm sure a lot of my friends they take I'm an electrical engineering major, so I don't have to take material science, but a lot of my friends do, and I'm sure they could tell you better that there's some materials, Kevlar, for example, or other cloth-like materials like that are
I've worked with fiberglass and carbon fiber and Kevlar and stuff, and we vacuum the thing so we can get all the epoxy running through it. Mm-hmm. The thicker it is, the better it is to go through. So the more layers you're going to have for the spacesuit, the easier it is for that gas to flow through it, because it's just going to follow through the weaves. So it doesn't really matter how many layers. They can have 100 layers. It's not going to stop the air from escaping. This is the issue.
That's a good question. I mean, I'm really not too familiar with that stuff. So, I mean, I can't really say anything about it, but I'll definitely look into it.
Yeah, because there's another problem with the spacesuits, though. The oxygen tanks. They said to give some of them, they can stay on the moon for 22 hours. And a normal oxygen tank for a scuba diver is, I think, maximum, if they work really well with it, 3 hours.
Yeah, well, that's again, I don't know much, but I'm sure that there's. I think that do they think that they recycle the oxygen? They breathe out CO2 and then that gets recycled back into usable oxygen. I really have no idea.
It's not enough.
Flats.
Yes, Michael.
Did you want that James May link?
For? No, we were just talking about it. I don't want to show it because the last time I showed it, the BBC struck my channel.
Oh.
Well, I'll post it in private chat for Scott.
Shut. Yeah, then Scott can go watch it. But I'm sure he's watched it there. But yeah, sorry, go on, Scott.
No, so I really don't know, but I'm sure that they have ways of making oxygen last for a really long time. And I don't know if it's 22 hours.
Well, don't you think they can use that same technology on in normal, ordinary situations, if people know they're going to go cave
Like in
diving,
caves and all of.
yeah, I mean, you can just use that same technology and say you'll never run out of oxygen. You can just recycle the oxygen.
Yeah, recycling the
I mean,
oxygen.
yeah, they use that in
Your-
submarines.
Your
The
oxygen.
recycling.
No, they use a chemical that they burn that makes oxygen.
They
and
create.
submarine.
They use what's the things when you put it in the acid? I'm trying to think of the name now.
It's a chemical reaction that makes
Electrolysis.
oxygen.
Electrolysis. There we go. They
Yeah.
use electrolysis
Oh,
to.
electrolysis. Oh, okay. I know.
They create their own oxygen that way. But remember, on a submarine, they got the space for it. They got the environment to be able to create that in a little.
And they can pump out extra gas if they need
Yeah,
to.
in a little
Get the gas
backpack in a little backpack on a space dude in space. You got so much more elements to contend with. You're in a vacuum, first of all, so that gas that's coming out due to the electrolysis is going to just immediately evacuate. It's not going to have time to do anything. You know what I mean? It's just too much issues. Not to mention the temperature differentials. It's going to be too bad.
And,
You won't be able
have
to
you ever
kill you.
also have
Or
you
it would
ever
unalive
seen, have you ever seen where they show those big tankers imploding?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Okay,
It's
so you realize how much pressure it takes to do that, right?
yeah.
And they're not even close to 10 to negative 17 torr of a vacuum, which is what they say it is in space. Okay, so now you have an oxygen tank in with that spacesuit. That thing would explode. Because that oxygen tank that they're carrying on their back or whatever is nowhere near as strong as those tankers that they show imploding in there. Because the steel that they use on that, I can't remember what sketch it is, but it's thick. It's not like little paper thin stuff, man. So
I'm sure it is, but like I really I don't know really anything about that. Like I've never looked into it that much. So I mean I will. And
Because I actually laughed though. I don't know if you heard it. I think it was which was the Apollo 10 or what? That one of the first astronauts that never went to the moon, but they went through the annihilation belts. He didn't know about it, but he said the foil was so thin. If he just stuck his finger through it, there would be an issue. That's how thin it was. He claimed he can stick his finger right through the.
he was the same guy that they killed in the explosion there, because he kept on hanging a lemon from the lem.
Mm-hmm.
hang
Really
on.
odd.
Yeah, he took a coat hanger, stuck a lemon through it, and hung it on the thing because they were having so many issues with the lem.
Oh,
he was saying it was a
Couldn't
lemon.
even make it fly or land on Earth.
Well, maybe
He was
the-
nicknaming it
there's-
the lemon, not the lem.
Yeah, I don't know about the walls of the lem. I know. Yeah, I do know that they were thin.
Gus Grissom. There we go. So yeah, Dave. It's Gus Grissom.
Yeah, Gus Grissom. Yeah, he died on Apollo 1 in a fire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You ever
after
wonder
he-
why that character
his
in
finger through there.
CSI is named Gus Grissom?
Interesting. But yeah, that's what I said. There's just so many red issues. I don't see any pros for that they ever went to the moon, that they ever will go to the moon. That's why I think it's a waste of time to even fight for that. The moon's a physical object in the sky, in space, because it anyway violates natural law. So
Okay,
that's my whole point.
I got you.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jeremy Bird, thank you for your $2 super chat. He says, flat Earth sounds crazy to everyone, but ones who do their research run out of excuses for authority, and that's what forces the blindfolds off. 100% agree.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. You rock.
Oh, and Scott, you're saying you're an electrical engineer?
Yes,
I'm an electronic engineer. So
nice.
Just to kind of give you an idea, like people always think that flat earthers are stupid, right?
I never said that.
No, but a lot of people do, right? That's the going thing. Is like flat. They make a joke that, oh, you're so dumb that you believe the Earth is flat. Well, you know what? I don't like. I understand the electrical side of things for your electrical engineering. I went into the electronics side, and
Mhm.
okay, is your electrical engineering easy?
No, definitely not.
No. Well, I did an accelerated program. I got mine in 2.5 years.
Well, that's awesome.
And that was the hardest thing I ever did. And just to kind of like give you an idea of what my background is, I'm I believe the earth is flat and I'm not stupid. That's for darn sure.
I don't think you guys are stupid at all. And I think
Well,
like, I mean, I never said that, but I think you're wrong. But I don't think that makes you stupid. I just disagree with you, and I think having a civil discussion is the best thing we can do about it.
oh,
And that's
sure.
what I like about you, Scott.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what we say with you, man. You're respectful, and we don't think you're stupid at all. We think you're actually very bright. There's just the
Thank
issue is you're just believing the status quo for absolutely no reason. We used to do the same thing. We were there in the
Mhm.
same boat.
Yeah, I
Wow.
bet. So I had a question for you guys. So what do you guys think is beyond? So you guys, so sorry. So beyond the dome, right? You guys think do you guys think there's a dome, like
Yeah, I
surrounding?
believe it's permanent, just like the Bible says. We need it anyway because you need containment to breathe.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you guys think's outside of that, like beyond the edge of the earth?
Heaven,
We don't know.
heaven.
Well, the
What
waters.
the Bible says, yeah.
Yeah, there's the waters in heaven, right? And God. It's like his throne. That's what they're.
I gotcha. Okay.
Mhm.
Let me see. I had a few more questions.
I'm actually interested in that one.
That's my roommate.
Yeah, no, it's good to see you guys. And you guys, if you got questions, you're allowed to talk, by the way.
Yeah, you guys talk. My his name's Nick. He's also he's a pretty devout Christian as well.
Yes.
Oh, awesome. Good to see you, Nick.
Nice
I'd
to
love
see
to
you
talk to
guys.
Nick about Genesis then sometime.
I'm actually interested about that. What in Genesis is it that you guys like quote?
Yeah.
I'm actually interested. I have my Bible right here. I actually want to see this.
Awesome. You can open up on Genesis 1, okay? We can go through the
Alright.
scriptures if you want to, but we can let's base it off on do you understand the heliocentric model really well?
I mean, we took physics 1 together, which kind of goes over gravity, but it doesn't go too deep into it.
But let's put it this way: according to the heliocentric model, which would have to come first, the sun or the Earth?
The sun would come
Yeah,
first.
the sun.
Yeah.
The sun
And-
was created.
Yeah, and what's on the fourth day in your Bible, Nick?
Let's see. Well, God did create the earth and the heavens and the earth.
So he created
On the
earth
fourth
first?
day. What did he create on the fourth day?
Fourth.
It'll be verse 14 where it starts.
Oh, then God said, "Let there be lights in the expanse of the sky, separate the day from the night."
One to rule the day and one to rule the night.
So he created the earth first, and then it was dark, and then he created the sun. I gotcha.
So the sun
right.
and the moon came, and the stars came on
No,
the fourth,
he created
fourth
light
day.
on the first day.
Yeah. The sun, the moon, and the
Yeah.
stars came on the fourth day.
Mhm.
So there were already 3 days before that. In day one, God created light, and He separated the light from the darkness, and He saw that was good, and that was the first morning and evening.
Genesis 1:3.
Yeah.
Actually, if you actually look at the very first verse, it says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." So that's the first thing He created. The earth, see? So it says the earth was formless and void. Darkness was over the surface of the deep. So basically, it was just water, right? Okay. And there was no sun. The earth was there. Okay.
and it's formless, so you can't already claim a spinning globe.
Exactly.
Well, if it's formless, can you claim that it's a flat Earth?
Yes, because it says over the surface of the water.
And he hovered over the
Waters.
face of the deep. He hovered over the
Waters.
face of the deep. So face is a two-dimensional flat shape.
Okay.
Interesting.
That's we've actually done a few streams explaining this in quite detail as well. If you want to ever go and look on my channel sometime, I actually
Remember,
had
when you identify someone too, right?
I actually had an awesome conversation with a Josh Monday yesterday as well, where we went through some of these scriptures. If you want to watch it, it'll just explain it easier to you, so you understand the cosmology a bit better. Because I've been a Christian most of my life as well, and I've never read it in the light of seeing it as flat. You know what I mean? So I understand where you are. Understand where you are on that, because you don't read it that way. But until it gets revealed to you, and you're like, hang on, the Bible's contradicting what the heliocentric model teaches me, then it's quite a big thing.
Okay. That's pretty interesting, guys. So I got another question. So have you guys ever has there ever been any cross phenomena or like any observations that challenged your belief of flat Earth that made you like reconsider, or something that hinted at the globe Earth, or is it everything you see points to a flat Earth?
Well, because we understand it so well, and we understand physics of things, and with our observations, I haven't encountered anything that would deter me.
Okay.
You see, most of the things we've seen, we've already known the counter arguments beforehand, so it doesn't make us think, oh, well, we might be wrong on this one. It's just we've already known the argument back, so it's been like, okay, we know what they're going to argue back if we do present it anyway, because most of the things we talk about, we are able to demonstrate. We're not able to get any demonstrations on the globe side though. But we do get a lot of, how can I put it, CGI stuff, and saying, you see, because I can show you CGI, therefore it's real.
Like, do you guys know that every photograph that they show outside the Earth, none of them are actual photographs?
Well,
they are images, okay? And they are
composites.
Yeah, they're actually they made that picture. They didn't actually take the photo. You know that,
and you
right?
know what the funny thing of that also is? Do you if we go back to the moon landing thing? Do you know that NASA has 21 VFX studios? 21 VFX studios, and when they did the moon landing things, they commissioned a whole bunch of artists and prop makers to make model-sized moons, and they have the whole track set for dollies and everything on there. It's easy to be able to fake the moon and the sun using hyperliteral paintings of models and stuff, and saying, look, I took a Hasselblad and I took a photo of it. But when you try and actually take the Hasselblad itself, it can't function in a vacuum anyway.
Oh yeah. I don't know anything about the Hasselblad camera. I know what you're talking about, but so the photos of Earth, like I would think most of them are digital, and the VFX, right? Like just because that like they touch up photos, right? Maybe like I'm assuming the photo of the blue marble, right? That famous photo. It was originally taken upside down, but they changed it to right side up. It doesn't mean it's a fake.
No, Richard Simmons, he actually said he had to add clouds, he had to change this, he had to change it because it had to Photoshop. That's the one you're talking about.
Okay, but my roommate.
But if you're talking about the I think it's the 1972 original blue marble where they claim to have taken it with a Hasselblad or something. This is my counter argument when I say, but they had models in the studio and they had cameras on dollies to be able to take those photos. Because if you take a film camera and you try to stick it into a vacuum chamber, it won't work. I don't know if you've heard of the Apollo detectors before.
I've heard of them. I don't think I've watched any of their videos.
They've actually tested the film that they used in the Hasselblad cameras in a vacuum, and it totally messes up the film. And that's even without the radiation that they would have got from outside of the Earth's atmosphere. There's a lot of things that wouldn't work. I mean, even the placement of being able to load the film. If you know on a Hasselblad, you have to actually take off the back film, the back box, and expose it to get the film in and close it again. All that fine dust that they claim is everywhere in the astronauts and stuff, it's very dangerous. It would get in between the film. You wouldn't be able to. The camera wouldn't work, wouldn't function. There's just too much issues. But yet they're able to get it perfectly. They can take photos like they want, but they're not even able to hold it with their arm. That's why they got it mounted on their chest, and they got no viewfinder to see it. It's like taking it's like assuming you can take a 4-year-old to do an engineer's job of 30 years with a plastic knife and a screwdriver.
Yeah, that wouldn't work very well. My room, Tristan, did you want to answer?
Oh yeah.
My roommate wanted
Hey
to
guys,
answer.
my name is Tristan. I just want to ask you. I just have a question I wanted to ask you guys. I've been wondering for a while. So, if you guys believe that the Earth is flat, because like it's kind of a loaded statement that comes with a lot of things. So, what is the big conspiracy that you believe? Do you believe that the Earth is flat and like all the scientists that are working at it are wrong, or that it's a conspiracy and all the scientists are trying to prove that the Earth is round even though it's flat? Like I'm just wondering, what do you believe in?
You know what?
Can I just say something on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, your globe model is a conspiracy, mate.
Yeah. You see, the thing is, when it comes to the flat Earth, we get this a lot. So you're saying everybody's lying, blah, blah, blah. No, actually not. We actually know people that did work at NASA that are flat earthers. They don't work at NASA anymore, and they can vouch it's a flat Earth. The thing that it happens in NASA, you get what they call compartmentalization. So if you're going to get your job study, and you've studied now, you've done your 10-year course, you've got now a job at NASA, you're going to be doing the circuitry for a box of some sort. You believe it's going to where they claim it to go, because why would they lie? You doing your job, you studied to do this, you're getting paid for it, you're enjoying it, you've made the chip to go in the module, they're stuck in the rocket, you sit back and you watch the rocket go in the sky. You can agree that guy thinks, yeah, no, I did my job, it's really going where it's going. You would agree?
Yeah, he would think that it's going straight.
So he's not lying. And that's
So
exactly
then-
how it works. It's just a show. It's not actual thing. It's not to say that there's actual people on the rocket going with that chip up there.
So you believe that there are actually scientists trying to work towards this, they just don't know, and like they're getting proven wrong. by
Yeah, think
NASA.
about it. If all the math is working, you're working on models. That's how everything works in physics and with orbital mechanics, and they work on models. So they specifically working their math out based on that model. Now they're going to test it out based on that model, the math going up, but doing everything, it works perfect because it's based on that model. It doesn't mean what's happening in is reality. It just means it's working in their simulation. That's why you get like, I don't know if you saw India when they landed on the moon recently. How fake
Yeah, I
that
saw
was.
Did that look real to you?
So the thing was that the footage I saw, I think it was being transmitted back to Earth Live, so that's why it looked kind of goofy. And I think some of the footage that they did was like not actual footage because maybe it was in the dark. Like I don't know. I only saw footage that was being transmitted back live, and that's why it kind of looked goofy. Like it looked, I mean, it looked, I don't like staticky or whatever.
But I think, I mean, because you guys would agree, you're able to see a cartoon compared to something else? I mean, this is supposed to be live footage. I mean, that's live. That's not composited in late or anything. That's what they were showing the people in real time happening.
Well, yeah, because they can't get an outside view of a spacecraft, so they just
And
make like a little model of it so you can see what's going on, even though you can't see
that's
what's going on.
that's my
They
whole
do that
point.
with Mars as well. Like you can't. Yeah, so I mean, just because they make like a model of it doesn't mean it's fake. Like it's just so that people watching it know what's going on, even though it might not be
Okay, but what
like
about that little
100%
rover
everywhere.
thing that they had that came out of that thing that still looked the same as that cartoon thing, and that was supposed to be the camera on the outside filming it. Like,
Mhm.
huh? Sorry, it totally looked, and it seems like every time they try and land something on the moon, they fail. Like there was the last thing that just went there, it landed and it fell over. It happened to fall on the camera side of it, but yeah, oops.
Yeah, I know Russia tried doing something and it smacked into the ground at like, it went it was just like hit the ground at like 1,000 miles an hour or something. They just yeah, I
But
mean, the
we
moon
can't
is
see any
really
evidence of
hard.
something like that hitting the moon by looking through our telescopes. I
Yeah, so in order to like the moon, well, one, it's really far away, and so which is why like you can't get any normal telescope and just zoom in and like see a flag on the moon. Like
okay.
I
Say
think
normal
I think they
telescope.
said the Tycho crater shouldn't even be seen due to the angular size, and yes, we're able to see it
the
if it's
Tylo
based on the distance they're giving us. Tycho crater,
Tycho. I know it's a big one, Tycho.
but based on the size, angular size, and the distance to the moon that we give 235,000 miles or something. Apparently, we're not even supposed to see it, and yet we're able to see it even with the naked eye.
I don't think you can see that with the naked eye.
I
Yeah,
can
I
see
don't
the
think
full moon with my naked eye. I'm in South Africa. I can see the full moon with my naked eye. I can see the Tycho crater, mate.
like can
I
you
have a
see like the
Nikon
circle of it?
1000.
Like I wouldn't be able to see that. I mean, my eyes are not very good. I need glasses, but like
I
I
have a
wouldn't be able
Nikon
to see that. I mean,
T1000
I can see
camera.
that
I can
easily with my
zoom right in
telescope.
on
I've
it.
seen the
Okay,
Tycho
look, you
crater
can't see
before.
the Tycho crater with your eye like as, but you can see where it's located. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, yeah, because I mean,
You can see a
you can
dot.
see when it like there's a bunch of ejecta that's coming out from the crater because it probably smacked there and it really fast and it made a huge explosion. A bunch of stuff landed, so you can kind of see where it was because that ejecta is probably hundreds of miles.
Well, do you believe in the magic speed that Neil deGrasse Tyson was talking about?
The magic what?
The magic speed. That's the Tycho
Magic.
crater for everybody that's asking. Yeah. Why? Because when he was asked, why is all the impact craters on the moon always at 90 degrees?
Oh, okay. So they're not all at they're not going to be all at 90 degrees. They can come in at an angle, but what happens is that because they're hitting the moon or the surface, whatever, so fast, they just instantly vaporize and then explode. So they're not going to like drag. They're not going to slide. They're just going to explode
It's
immediately.
the same thing
What
with any
causes the
crater that's on Earth.
vaporization?
Huh?
What causes the vaporization?
There's no
The
atmosphere.
extreme heat and
I mean, no, there's no atmosphere on the moon. Well, when it hits Earth,
Exactly.
yeah. But no,
So, but
so
you
it
just said it,
hits
it
the ground.
vaporizes.
Because it hits the ground so fast. There's so much energy, right? Kinetic
Okay,
energy is half
but
mv
the
squared.
angle that you hit something. Have you ever like taken a rock and thrown it into the sand on an angle and see what it does?
Yeah, well,
It
okay,
would
so
do the exact same thing. It would be like an explosion in the same direction that it hits the moon at. It wouldn't go in a perfect circle. Never. It would be it would almost be like an ellipse shape. It would be long, elongated from the angle of it that it hits at. But not a single crater that's there is not it's a perfect circle. All of them. Every single
I
one.
know exactly what
And
I know
notice
exactly what
we've
you're talking about
never.
because me and Scott had like asked this question. Actually, it was pretty recent we actually did this because I was wondering the same question too. But when an asteroid hits a planet, it's going a little bit faster than like a human throwing a rock into sand. and so it's creating a lot more energy, and that's what's vaporizing the rock and causing this magma flow. So
Yeah, but look
like,
at it
it's
this
not.
way.
It's
Sorry,
like
but
almost dropping a nuke. It has almost the same amount of energy as like dropping a nuclear bomb.
but
That's why it's
look
not
at this.
sliding, because it's vaporizing instantly.
The issue you have there is you need the friction. You have no friction because there's no air for the friction to be able to vaporize.
But there's no friction in the equation for kinetic.
Yeah, but
it's
that's
just
the
energy.
issue. Yeah, but you see, you need the energy to be dissipated, and the atmosphere gives the friction for that energy dissipation. If there's nothing to dissipate the energy, you can't have the vaporization.
Wait, are we talking about? I was talking about the moon.
Yeah,
right?
the moon. There's no
Yeah,
atmosphere
there's no.
to transfer the energy. So that
Yeah, which is
energy
why all the
can't.
energy is
so it can't
concentrated
Oxygen
at that
goes to the
point.
surface.
Yeah, so the asteroid can't be vaporized before it hits the surface.
Wait,
No,
it
it gets
hits the
vaporized at the surface.
It
That's
hits
why.
the surface and then vaporizes. It disintegrates.
Yeah, but then it would still have if it's going at an angle, it will shoot forward.
Well, the
You know what
the
shrapnel? Do you know how
doesn't exist
shrapnel works?
anymore.
Do you know
Huh?
how shrapnel works?
Yeah, and that's probably what you're seeing from the Tycho crater.
Do you understand that if the angle of incidence hitting the surface of a curved surface, if it hits it at a sharp angle, it's going to reflect off. Even if it vaporizes, the energy is going to reflect off. The energy has to go somewhere. Okay, you understand that, right? The angle of it's like the angle of incidence equals the angle of exit, right? It's always going to do that. And every single crater is a perfect circle, as if something hit it at exactly 90 degrees.
I know what you're talking about with the angle of incidence. That's like what you can use with like lasers and mirrors.
You can use it with anything.
That's bouncing off. That's not getting vaporized.
Have you
When
ever played
point
pool?
a laser at a mirror, it's the angle of reflection. The angle of reflection is going to be the same as like when you point it at, because that's how the reflection is going to work. But if an asteroid is hitting the surface, and because of the kinetic energy of the impact, it vaporizes, there's nothing to bounce off. There is no reflection. It gets vaporized.
Okay, but I can answer this, but let me just quickly read the super chat. $2 super chat from Roger Lettle. Thank you very much. I think he says crater. Crater is begging the question. That is true, because we are begging the question. It's a crater, but thank you very much for the super chat, Roger. I don't know if I can draw this out. Have you ever gone to the beach and just thrown a rock into the sand?
Yes.
Okay, at an angle. And you see but if you see the rock out it like this, okay, where's most of the sand pushing to? That side, where it's transferring the energy.
It goes. Yeah, it's probably going to go in the direction.
And there won't be any. There's going to be nothing behind it giving that crater look, because there's going to be no badge. But these are literally always showing to hit 90 degrees, which gives it the crater look. Understand? If it's going at an angle, even if it hits and it disintegrates straight away, there's still energy that needs to be dissipated in that direction. There's not going to be any dissipation behind it, but yet it has a perfect circle, which is impossible.
The energy would be dissipated behind it, because it's like that. It's that one point of impact. It's not. It's the asteroid isn't continuing going in the same direction if it's vaporized.
Angle of incidence is the key, mate. The vector of that energy dispersion is based on the angle of incidence.
But another problem I have with that is that there's a difference between, like, I can throw a rock in the sand at 50 miles an hour. The rocks hitting the moon are going at least 100 times that. So there's a big difference in kinetic energy.
Okay,
right?
take a gun. Take a gun. Okay. Shoot it at the ground and see what happens. I'll shoot it on an angle.
There's still not enough.
There's not enough.
And also, right, kinetic energy is 1/2 times mv squared. An asteroid has a lot more mass, and it's going much faster than a bullet. The faster it goes, the kinetic energy goes up exponentially, right? It's v squared. So
but you see why we have so much red flags about this whole moon thing. You are going into the realms of it's unverifiable.
Yeah.
No.
The physics you're coming up with is unverifiable physics.
What, are you talking about equations and stuff?
The kinetic energy equation?
Okay. All right. How about this? How long have you been staring at the moon for? You've been staring at it many times throughout your life, yes? Have you ever seen it like an asteroid or a meteor hit the moon? Ever?
Have I?
Have you ever
No.
seen
Well,
it?
okay.
No,
I've never
no.
seen an asteroid.
Would it not be something that you could see from with your naked eye, especially because you're saying, oh, it's going so fast, there's so much energy, it would cause this to happen? I'm sorry,
It's
but
also
no.
very rare for that to happen.
Yeah.
Very rare, really? How many?
Every day.
What is a meteor shower? Huh? That hits the Earth? That's rare. It happens all the time. It's predictable, supposedly. Why aren't they hitting the moon? I'm sorry, but that you can't have it one way and not the other. Okay, you can't have like tons of meteors and meteor showers hitting the Earth, but none of it hits the moon ever.
Well, okay. So
Sorry, it would
a
be
meteor,
videotaped. None of it happens.
a meteor shower. It's not like this insanely dense cloud of meteor showers. It's really sparse still. It's still like it's still like a very small chance. And even if it
You're
did,
grasping. Yeah, I'm sorry, but you're
what?
grasping. You're trying to explain something that you already you actually know what I'm saying is true. Okay, and you're just trying to explain it away with something that is not.
Well, I think what Scott is saying is that a meteor shower, like if you're trying to compare the two, like what's it called, the Tycho crater?
Tycho crater.
Tycho
Yeah.
crater. Like if an asteroid that sized hit Earth, it wouldn't be a meteor shower. That would be like almost a near extinction level event. That's not a common occurrence.
Yeah, but
A
that's
meteor
just that's
shower
also
on the
just
moon.
again, that's all just again saying begging the question. No one can even prove there was ever a meteor that has hit Earth. We can look at all these so-called impact craters on Earth, and we can associate them to water geysers because they also have 90-degree impact zones and nothing there to support that it was even a meteorite. We can show
Well, it's
underneath is water. We can show it's water geysers. We can demonstrate this. But the globe has no demonstration for anything other than it had to be space rocks because it fits with our paradigm.
Well, I mean, it's not 100%. Like, are you talking like the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs, for example? Like that
That's
crater? I
your
think
guys'
it's a few
paradigm.
weeks ago.
That's not
There's also
biblical, by the way.
there's one in America. I think it's like Arizona or Nevada or something.
Mhm.
It's like maybe I think it's like 600 meters wide. It's a big crater.
It's
But like
a water geyser.
I don't know who
Nick,
I've never heard of that.
Nick, do you obviously know about Noah's flood?
Nick's not here. He had to leave,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Yeah,
But when you
yeah.
ask him about Noah's flood, and then ask him what it says where the waters came from, and that would explain the water geysers all over the world.
We'll ask him. We've asked him questions like that before.
Yeah,
We've asked him
it'll be
about
interesting.
Mozart, but I digress. But yeah, it's the impact crater thing. It's a good question, and a question that gets asked a lot. But it hits so fast, and there's so much energy. Like you can't think of it really as just something that's going to be sliding on the ground. You just have to think of it as like this,
Like a bomb.
it's a bomb. Like if you can calculate using kinetic energy, like I mean. Let me grab my calculator real quick. I bet I can do
No, I
this.
understand what you're saying, but you miss you when it comes to ballistics, it has a vector.
But again, ballistics with it, the kinetic equation, there's nowhere near the same energy. Like compare the mass of a bullet compared to the mass of an asteroid, right? The size of Texas.
You take a rock and you throw it in the sand, it does that impact and the angle. You take a bullet, you shoot it at the ground, it does the exact same thing, just bigger. And
Take
then you go to a
RPG,
bigger
it does the
bullet,
same
like a
thing.
50 caliber and stuff like that, it does the exact same thing. You take a missile hitting ground and it explodes. It is
Exactly the same.
going to hit and explode at an angle, and it's going to have an angle of exit the same. So you're trying to say that physics doesn't work with a meteor hitting the moon?
No, we're saying exactly that it does work, but the fact that it's so much bigger, like an asteroid is bigger than a bullet. So,
But you're
the
saying that
mass,
it doesn't. Angle of incident is irrelevant in this case.
At a
because of the
certain
math.
degree, at a certain point, yeah, but it has to be super shallow.
No. But you don't see any evidence of those kinds of craters on the moon at all. None. Zero.
Because a crater like that size, if something was small enough to not have the same impact as an asteroid, like someone throwing a rock, it wouldn't create a crater. If someone were to throw a
It
rock
would
on the
create
moon,
a
the same way
a
you throw a rock
groove
on the
into the
sand on
ground.
Earth.
Okay, so here's another example. What if I threw a nuclear bomb at the ground at a sharp angle, and the second it touches the ground, it explodes? There's not going to be any evidence of
Angle of incidence.
angle. It's
They
just
will.
it's a circular, massive, big explosion.
Look at it this way. If this is, let's say this is the vector that the atomic bomb is coming in, and it detonates here, okay? It still has energy moving forward. It's going to push that explosion out forward. It's not going to poof and then up this way. It still pushes out forward and then plumes up. It still has that energy forward. Angle works. That's how ballistics works. You need to take angle of incidence into account with all ballistics.
Okay, but when you're talking about ballistics, you're talking about angle of incidence, that's a completely different equation than kinetic energy. Like, I know what
Kinetic
you're
energy is
talking about
part
with
of it,
ballistics.
though. The kinetic
No, it
energy,
is part.
yeah, the kinetic
If
energy.
you're shooting a bullet, I'm sorry. If you're shooting a bullet, right? You have the kinetic energy equation, K equals mv squared, which is gonna be the mass times the velocity. Oh, sorry, 1/2 mv squared. That's the kinetic energy of the bullet. That's still sound. But when you're trying to find the angle of incident, it's not this. You're not going to use the kinetic energy equation to find the angle. It's a whole different equation.
Unless you need to figure out what angle it came from, and you'll be able to figure out what angle it came from if you looked at the crater. And that's our whole point. The crater is the contention here, not the amount of kinetic energy that's coming out. The kinetic energy is not the contention here. It's the angle of incident that creates the crater. And everything on the moon is at 90 degrees. There's never, ever a slight, even a 1 degree difference. It's always 90 degrees. And therefore, we say it's impossible to be a meteorite crater because, first of all, no one's ever observed one ever hitting the moon. And second of all, there is no angle of incidence counters everywhere. It's literally just 90 degrees.
Well, the reason why no one's observed like something hitting the moon like that is that it's super rare. Like in the grand scheme of things, like the solar system is so like just inconceivably massive, and an asteroid, while it is big and it would do a lot of damage to a planet, it's still really tiny. So like the odds of it hitting are super slim. And I'm sure small little craters hit the moon every once in a while, like they'll hit the Earth, but you're not going to be able to see them from here because they're so small.
But that's the whole issue. It's unverifiable. Everything everything you bring is unverifiable. It's just hearsay. It's faith based. It's literally just faith based.
Also, if you take a picture of the moon that you see right now, and you compare it to someone who's taken a picture, the best picture you can take back in, like, say, the 50s. All right, you compare those two pictures. The face of the moon hasn't changed. It hasn't.
No, okay.
It hasn't changed. The face of the moon would be changing. It would be, and it's not. Why would it be changing? Well, you still you're still going to have a meteor shower. Despite the size of it, all the meteors burn up in our atmosphere before they hit the ground. There is no atmosphere on the moon. Therefore, what is it going to do? It's going to be flying at the really high speed that they're going at, and it's going to impact the moon. It's not going to sit there and burn up in an atmosphere. It's going to hit the moon, and you're going to have all these little tiny small craters that would be starting to appear all the time, and you don't.
Yeah, but there's a difference between, an asteroid and a meteor. Meteors are much smaller than asteroids, so they'll definitely.
You're still not understanding what I'm saying.
No, I know I am.
The face of the moon would be changing constant. It would be always changing, despite the size of them. Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Your face would change all the time.
No, I agree that it would be changing, but not noticeable. The craters would be so tiny that you can't see them from Earth.
Meteorites hitting the moon, like for example,
we're talking like 60, 70 years.
Yeah, for example, the meteorites that would like burn up in Earth's atmosphere, say those same type of meteorites would hit the surface of the moon. I mean, they're usually probably like inches to a few feet in size. They're not gonna create craters the size of the Taiku crater that you can see with your naked eye.
Okay, so
If
take
you
your
went to the
MV,
surface of the moon,
take your calculation and take a like say a meteor that's like 2-3 feet across and calculate what's the speed that it should be going, that you say it's going at, and it impact what is the kinetic energy and what it would cause. What would it do?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so
have it
just
right here.
get that.
So I have something that says most meteors are the size of a pebble. So let's
The
say
ones that are
300.
visible.
Let's say 300 grams.
a pebble, yeah. So maybe like 1 or 2 pounds.
We'll say a
the
kilogram.
heaviest.
It wouldn't be visible.
So let's 0.5. Let's
But see, at the
make
end of the day, this is the thing we're trying to get through to, guys. Your whole belief system is based on faith. There's no verifiability to it, and I think you would give the same argument to us if we had to say, give an argument. You say, "Can you please verify this?" And we say, "Just have faith, bro. You can't observe it. You just have to trust us because we say so." I think you think that's illogical deduction,
Mm-hmm.
and that's exactly
mean-
what we get from the globe.
Wait here, okay. I guess my response is that I don't think it's I don't think you're illogical for believing something with faith. I have a lot of people that are very religious, and like I ask them to prove something in the Bible, and you know their response is faith, and they believe in the Bible, which I think is like totally understandable. I guess my question for you is that if you don't listen to like, or if you don't like believe some of these things, then what do you believe? If you don't agree with the kinetic energy equation, then what do you think is causing these craters? Like what do you think it is?
You would see that's the issue. I'm just going to say the super chat quickly. Thank you, Roger Deadwolf, for your $5 super chat. Solar system still big, daylight sky rockets in flight. Exactly. It's still begging the question. Thank you very much, Roger Ledwell, for your super chat. Appreciate it. But yeah, first, based on the comment about the Bible and stuff, we can verify the Bible to be true based on historical archaeological evidence and manuscripts throughout the centuries. When it comes to, if you want to prove the existence of God, well, he's supernatural, so that falls out the realm of science. And then now, what is the last point you made?
Well, my question was just that if you don't believe in like the reasoning to prove the Earth is round, what is the reasoning that you believe that the Earth is flat?
There we go. Yeah. So because we don't believe the Earth to be round, is because it's all just faith-based. There's no observable reality for it. Like you guys claim the Earth is rotating. We say, okay, we don't observe it to be rotating, but you must just have faith that it's rotating because of general relativity.
How do we get seasons?
And then it's the same as things fall because of gravity. No, we can demonstrate it's not gravity, it's simply just the displacement between the ratios of the object and the medium around it. Okay, because something can't occupy the same space, so it has to give way. That's why we see things fall. We can demonstrate things on our flat Earth constantly because we see things that should be impossible on the globe. But the globe goes and says, okay, refraction, for instance. And then we claim it's okay, so it's not a physical curve then, it's just optical, as we claim. Everything we are able to communicate with, we are like, yeah, we claim this, here's a demonstration to show it's possible in real physics, and this is compared to what your globe says. And at the end of the day, all we get from the globe is, yeah, we got an escape card, it's called refraction, or it's too big, or it's just very too, we can't see it because it's too rare. Everything based, there is no evidence for what's been presented for the globe. It's all just faith, literally just faith.
So I was just doing some like rough calculations. So
No stress.
Of kinetic energy. So if, let's say, a 1 kilogram meteor just hit the moon, no atmosphere or anything, it's going to release about, what is that? a billion joules of energy, 15 billion. No, yeah, a billion joules of energy, which that's a lot. But let's say Mount Everest hits it, right? Mount Everest is the size. It's a pretty good size asteroid. I mean, that's going to relieve 2.6 times 10 to the 21 joules. I mean, that's like way more than like any nuclear bomb. So you're going to see, but like the odds of a asteroid that size hitting the moon is really rare, which is why you never see it. But a billion joules, whatever this is, it's what is? Oh no, this is wait, what is this?
Let's put it this way: a billion
50 million,
joules.
sorry,
Would
50
it
million
be
joules.
visible? Would it be visible to see that billion joules energy impact? It should at least light up, or should it not?
I don't know. I'm looking
Yeah,
at
because
it
the
now.
energy dissipation has to light. It's immense heat. Immense heat has light. So you'd be able to see it. You'd even be able to pick it up with some instrument on Earth.
Oh yeah,
There
you
should be
definitely
some
be able
kind
to
of
see.
radiation even.
You would, if humans were alive when the Tycho crater was created, we would most likely be able to see it with a telescope.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about the Tiger. I'm just talking about any crater on the moon for beta. They should be in lifetime of human existence. There should at least be one observed crater somewhere. Happening from there isn't. Not in recorded history at all.
Hey, Flats.
Yeah.
Would I be able to share my screen for a sec?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right.
But anyway, Scott and your friend, sorry, I forgot your name already, but it's cool to chat with you guys. Enjoying it, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
this is awesome.
so can you see my screen here?
I can. Yeah.
Okay. So this blue dot here represents the Earth, right?
Mhm.
The yellow dot is the sun, and this is according to you guys' model. Okay. Now,
Sure.
over here are the stars. All right. Now, see the stars that you see there? When the Earth is over on this side, these stars here are no longer visible. Okay? Right? Yes?
Why? Because the sun's in the way.
Well, because the night sky is over here. Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
I know your axis on the Earth. Okay, so we put the axis. That's the axis of the Earth. Okay, just for all pretenses here. Okay. Now, what you're viewing here, say, okay, for example, at the
Say that's the
equator.
northern stars. Yeah, say that's the northern stars, maybe.
Okay, the North Star would be here.
Yeah, Polaris.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the North Star can't be in the exact same. Like you're pointing in an opposite, different angle. And you remember when you have one slight angle difference, it climbs exponentially the further away you go, right? So the other thing is the constellation that's at the equator, Orion. Okay, it's visible at the equator and it's visible all year round. How is that possible?
Okay. Well, so I first I'll address that, but first I want the North Star, right? You're saying that when the Earth is going around the sun and it moves, right? It's moving from one astronomical unit to the next. So that's 180 million miles. You're saying
I think you're trying to make it. You're trying to make it bigger than what I'm trying to point out.
Well,
Okay.
no, I'm just trying to like understand what you're asking. Like you're saying because the Earth and like the sun
looking in this.
moving.
We're looking in this direction. Okay, this is where
Yeah.
Orion is. Okay, Orion's here. They'll just pretend these stars are the constellation Orion. All right. Now this is, say for example, this is June. Okay. All right. Over here we would be in December, which is 6 months later. We would be 180 degrees facing the opposite direction. All right. 180 degrees. Okay. Can you see Orion? Should you be able to see Orion?
No.
No, but
No,
you can't
you
see
can't.
the same constellations
All
all
right,
year
but
round.
yes, you can. I'm telling you, you can. Okay, can you see the Big Dipper all year round? Yes, you can.
You should be able to. You can look it up right now.
Pardon?
Depending on the hemisphere that you're in, is whether you can see it.
In the night sky, I can see the Big Dipper all year round. In the night sky, I can see Orion all year round. Okay? So you're trying to tell me that I'm facing 180 degrees in the opposite direction and I can see Orion, then magically the stars are moving around to the other side? No,
I recommend
sorry.
you look it up because you can't.
Okay, looking up something on Google doesn't make it true. I do my observations. I am looking with
proof?
my eyes and seeing this.
You have proof?
Do I have proof?
Yeah, like
that I can see the Big Dipper all year round?
Yeah, did you take photos and like marked it
Well,
with time?
Well, I see the Southern Cross right through the year.
Yeah, well, okay, so I can't see. I'm glad you brought that up. I can't see the Southern Cross because we're in the Northern Hemisphere, and I've never seen the Southern Cross. So
Yeah,
how
that's got
come?
to do with field. That's
you're
that's just got to do with field of view, though. That's on a different subject.
Okay.
Yeah, what he's trying to say is, if we're facing a total different direction, so in other words, we see the Big Dipper in front of us. 6 months later, we still see it in front of us, but we're literally facing the other way.
But yeah, see, but we're saying is that you can't, especially with Orion's belt, like you actually can't see it the entire year depending on the hemisphere you're in. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere for the entire year, you won't be able to see Orion's belt the entire year.
Like, I mean, I have like a Star Tracker app, and the Star Tracker app, and from what I've seen, is very accurate. Like, like I look at, like I'll track the International Space Station with it. I've tracked, other satellites or the moon, whatever, and wherever I point it, that's exactly where it is. And this is definitely based off of a globe Earth, but that we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later. But like you can this is a very instead of observing it all year round, I'm sure you can use this and use this to verify it. And let me just put in Orion.
Yeah, but I don't know how to explain it. It's very simple. If let's say you're following there's a red car in front of you, and you're standing and watching this red car in front of you. It's parked in front of you in a parking lot. And now you decide, hey, let's turn around. Now I've turned around.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
The car's still in the same spot. It's now to my back, but I see it still in front of me. That's what your globe says.
Yeah, so right now, what I'm looking at, I'm in the Star app right now, and this is, I'm in, so this is in the future. This is 4 months ahead, and Orion is out in the sky during the daytime, which makes sense from what you're saying. So we can't. And when it is nighttime, it's below the Earth. Or it's below the Earth for us,
and we wouldn't be able to see.
And we wouldn't be able to see it. Like it's still there, but the sun's in the way. There's atmosphere. We can't see it.
What about the
Big Dipper? Which makes sense. I'll do the Big Dipper now.
Sure. Roger Little says $2 super chat. He says, "Thank you, man." He says, "Let's dig a little deeper. Star height, please."
Star height. I don't know what is that.
Star height.
Oh yeah, you got the YouTube on at the same time.
Well, like what is star? That doesn't.
Yeah, what is star height?
What star should we get the height for? I don't know. Polaris. How about the Big Dipper? He's trying to say you don't know the actual height, but we can say the elevation angle is based off of a flat Earth.
So you mean like the diameter of the star?
No, how far it is from the surface.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the surface of Earth, like how far away it is? Okay.
I mean, yeah. Same thing with the Big Dipper. At nighttime, it's below the horizon, and then when it becomes day, or when it starts coming above the horizon, it starts turning day, and then you wouldn't be able to see it. But I'm sure
I've actually got it.
I see the Big Dipper.
You're
It just
looking at a
spins.
stupid app. Look with your eyes.
Yeah.
Oh,
actually,
go at night.
Absolutely.
Look at in the sky, and see the
Yeah,
Big Dipper.
in
The Big
August.
Dipper's visible all year round. I'm telling you. It is.
I've actually
I see it. I see it spinning. I just see it in different angles.
Yeah.
That's all I see. I don't see it go below the horizon. I see it spinning in the sky. That's what I see with the Big Dipper.
Yep.
So why can't you
Exactly.
trust the app though? Because the app is very accurate. Like I use it to point to tell me like where certain objects are, and then I point my telescope
Yeah.
to it, and there it is.
Do you
Like
understand?
why is
Like,
that
hey,
not
you've seen like star circles, right?
star circles?
They're doing
like,
like have you ever taken a photo of the stars, like a capture motion photo, and you
Star trails.
yeah, star trails. Have you ever seen those photos?
oh, like a long exposure, and then they're like
Yes,
the sky looks like it's
exactly.
rotating.
How come
Yeah.
they are perfect circles? Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the Earth is rotating in a perfect
No.
circle.
No, the Earth is not rotating. Okay. Okay, you're trying to say, all right. Okay, those circles, the location of the stars start in the night at different times of the year. Okay, so you're saying, but your app is telling you that the Big Dipper is below you. But are you like when you're using your app, you have to look at it through the whole night sky. If you can visually see the Big Dipper at any time in the night sky, from like say from when it's night like when sundown to sun up, from that time period, if you can see it any time in 365 days of the year, then your app is like garbage. I challenge you to actually go out, look in the night sky, see and spot the Big Dipper. Okay, I see the Big Dipper. Now, 6 months later, you're going to see the Big Dipper again. It's just going to be a different orientation from when you saw it that time, but it'll still be there.
I mean, yeah, I'll see it, but it's going to be in the day, or I guess I won't see it. It's going to be there, but it's going to be in the day.
No.
So you can't see
No,
it.
sorry. Nighttime, it's always visible at night. Okay,
Well,
always.
Yeah, I obviously.
In October, in October, I will.
No,
Anyway,
all year round.
I've got a little conundrum for you and your mate, if you guys want. It's
Go
a
for
globe
it.
conundrum.
I love
This
a
would be
globe.
the Earth, okay? And you would understand every person's antipodal to one another. So if a person is standing at this side of the globe, they're standing there, and then you got, let's say, someone else standing there.
Yeah.
What would happen if, let's say, this guy decided, you know what, I'm going to dig a hole straight through the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
I want to jump down through this hole and go meet my buddy up on the other side.
Sure.
Question is, will this guy's feet, let's see, this is his feet, still be, will he come out that hole feet first or head first at the bottom?
If he stays the same orientation, he'll come out feet first.
How will he stay the same orientation?
Well, I mean, first of all, like drilling through the Earth is a very, very difficult task,
Obviously.
especially in the core of the Earth. So no human would be able to survive going through there. So if a human tried to go through, they would be instantly killed.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that was funny. Yeah, they would. Yeah, so, but like, yeah, it's an unlikely scenario, but it's a good thought experiment.
Yeah, it's a good thought experiment. But
So-
any human that tried to go through the center, like swim through the core of the Earth, would be instantly incinerated.
Okay,
So-
but let's take incineration away. Let's say he's got to the center, he's at the core. Okay,
Yeah.
he's not incinerated, he's Superman.
He's
Superman. I
Is
was about to
he
say
still going to
Superman.
be in the same orientation as what when he jumped in from the top?
Why wouldn't he be?
Yeah, why wouldn't he be?
Okay, but
He
now
ju-
he's,
he's
in
just
zero, now he's in 0G then, correct? Because he's in the center.
Sure, but
Well-
like, what?
Well, you know what would happen is that if he's at the top, right? If the person, like in the simulation here, the person's at the top, he jumps into the hole. He's not gonna keep falling through because of gravity. Gravity's gonna pull him to the center. So if he would stop right there. He wouldn't keep going.
I think he would have a little momentum, keep going, but then just get pulled back, and like he would oscillate a little bit, and then just stay in the center because that's where the center of gravity is.
Yeah.
And yeah, he would. If let's say there's a gyroscope attached to him, and he can't rotate at all. Yeah, he would still be in the same
But that's
upright
perfect.
position.
Okay. But now this leads on to the question why I want the conundrum to be here. Would you say this guy in the center is now, how can I put it, standing upside down to the guy this side?
The guy in the middle is standing. He appears upside down to the guy in the bottom.
So the guy in the middle would be upside down to this guy.
He would appear that. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So,
but you do agree on the globe, there's no such thing as direction. There's no up and down.
Up and down is relative to where you are.
Yeah, it's relative to where you are in space.
Great. So why would he be not upside down, and there he would not be upside down, but there he would be upside down?
Well, relative to where you are. Relative to the starting spot, he's right side up. And then even in his starting position, compared to the other guy, he's upside down.
No, he's not, because you guys wouldn't say he's upside down, because who's upside down to who?
He is upside down relative to the other guy.
Vsauce, do you know who Vsauce is? Michael Stevens?
Yeah.
He made a great video about this. I think he uses the same experiment. It's called "Which Way Is Down." It's a great video.
Yeah, I remember that video.
And he does a great job explaining it. I recommend you guys go watch it.
Yeah, but I guess my answer to the question, I think, would be
good few years old.
Up and down, like in space, anywhere in space is relative to where you are in space. So if I'm standing right now right side up, I'm standing right side up, and Scott is standing right next to me, he would be right side up for me. But if Scott, flipped upside down and got in his hands, he would be upside down for me, because relative to where I am, he's upside down.
There's no true up and down.
There is no true up and down. It's all relative to where you are, and
so you would agree. Then we can then say gravity doesn't pull things downwards.
No, it pulls it to the center.
But relative to us, if I drop my calculator, it's going to pull it down relative to me. But the people in China below, or directly on the other side of the Earth, it's falling towards them.
If I was on my hands right now,
if someone's in China throwing it, it's falling up towards you.
So what did you say? Sorry.
So if someone's in China and throws something down, it's falling up towards you.
To our perspective, yeah, it's fine. If I was on my hands, if I was on doing a handstand, gravity would be pulling me upwards compared to my perspective.
Okay, but you do know gravity is not a force, so it doesn't pull anything. It only appears to fall. It's the ground that's rising.
Gravity has been it's a complicated topic. But
I'm saying you guys obviously touched a bit on general relativity. Have you guys touched a bit on general relativity before?
I'm doing that next semester.
Awesome. Yeah, then you should understand the apple's not falling, the ground's rising to meet the apple.
I mean, So I mean, anything is like that. If you say any two masses in space are pulled together gravitationally. So if I drop the pencil, the Earth is moving towards the pencil, but the pencil is also moving towards the Earth.
And it's an equal force.
It's an equal force, equal reaction. But the pencil has a lot less mass than Earth, so most of the distance is traveled by the pencil.
I don't know if you've seen a while back. I did a quick stream reading a paper. I think it was about the ether and everything, and in between there, I ended up just trying to explain space-time bending. Did you watch that?
I don't think I've watched that.
No. Anyway, how I had to explain space-time bending and was literally just making a cone. You guys understand? On the one axis you're going to have time, and on the other axis you have space. And if you bend the cone around, that straight line makes it look like it's curving around the cone. That is what you guys are saying is happening with gravity. That's why you guys are saying it's
warping space-time.
The ground is physically curving and warping in a fourth dimensional space to make the apple appear like it's falling, but it's not actually. It's staying in the same place.
Well, okay, so it's a very complicated subject. So it bends space-time, right?
Yeah.
So but if it acts like a force, so it you can the famous equation F equals ma. You could rewrite that equation F equals mg, which g is Earth's gravitational constant, which is 9.8 meters per second squared.
Okay,
So
so
you could
now
like
you're saying that the acceleration of gravity is a constant, yeah? So it's constantly acting upon things, yes?
Yeah, but it
Okay.
changes depending on where you are slightly, but
How come?
9.81 is a good
Okay,
approximation.
regardless of that, okay? So when something is falling, how can you have terminal velocity then?
Well, terminal velocity would
It's
be
a
like
constant, remember? So it's constantly acting upon that object. You shouldn't have terminal velocity. Everything should keep on accelerating until it hits the ground, until something else acts upon it the opposite direction.
I'm not 100% certain because I don't know 100% about this, but I believe terminal velocity has to do with air resistance. If you're in a vacuum and something is pulling at you, like something is gravitationally pulling towards you, you would continue accelerating infinitely until you made contact or like something else
No,
stopped you.
sorry, it doesn't happen because if you have something that has your what is it? Your aerodynamics. You drop something with that's aerodynamically where it has no resistance. It still has terminal velocity.
Yeah.
How would it have terminal velocity?
Okay. I was going to say thank you for your $2 super chat, Roger. He says you have more patience than QE. Bless you. Thank you very much. We do try, man. But these guys are awesome. That's why I say I can have all the patience in the world for people like this. Really, you guys are a breath of fresh air to me. Anyway, this would be, for instance, explaining time dilation. Okay, so each clock would be a second. So let's say that's 7 seconds going up. That's the same 7 seconds in the same amount of time going along that axis. So you see it's shorter than that.
Yeah.
So it appears to be a straight line. Now, if you had to take that and you had to curve it around a cylinder, have to make it smaller. I can't really see it now. You see it's sort of starting to curve there. See, it's curving. And that is what they're saying happens. So the apple that's falling, or this pen, is staying where it is. The ground is curving around it to make it seem like it's falling. And that's general relativity in a nutshell.
Like Einsteinian physics you're talking about?
Yep.
So do you believe in Einsteinian physics? Do you believe in that? Or is
I think it's hijacking relative density disequilibrium to say why things are able to displace the area around them. Because how I explain it is, if I got this pen here, it can only take up the space. Okay, so it's displaced the air around it. So where else can it go? But it can't be supported by the air, so if I let it go, it has to drop. The difference is, I say this pen is physically dropping because it's displacing the air around it. The medium around it can't support it. Now, as soon as it hits my hand is able to support it.
Yeah.
Okay, so they can't occupy the same space. But when it comes to general relativity in the globe, it's saying, hang on, this pen's not falling, my hand's moving up to meet it. It only appears to me to say it's falling because it's in a fourth dimension, because time and space intertwine with each other. But it's just mathematical. That's the difference. General relativity is only mathematical, where reality is, well, demonstratable.
Well, okay, so there was I know you're not going to believe it, but and there were some probes that went close to the sun, and because the sun is a massive object, it warps space-time a lot, and the closer you get to a massive object, the slower time
Time
ticks for that.
dilation, like I explained to you.
Yeah. So they had to change the clocks a little bit, I'm pretty sure. So that's like physical evidence. But
think about it this way. I used to do this when I was younger. I used to have a TV in my room, and my brother had a TV, for instance, in his room. And we used to watch the same program at the same time. And there would be a literal second delay on transmission. Would you say that's because of time dilation, or is it just because it takes time for frequency to catch up?
I'm sorry, can you say the question again? It cut out a little bit.
When me and my brother were younger, we used to play a game We had a TV each in our room, and we used to watch the same program at the same time, live. And would have a literal, almost like a second delay between the two. Would you say that's because of time dilation, or is it just because it takes time for the frequency to catch from the antenna to receiver?
I don't think it's time dilation.
I definitely don't think it'd be time dilation because you guys have the same gravitational pull. You guys are still both on Earth, so gravity is affecting the same based on like your model with space time.
That's now the issue with the clocks, with the season clocks as well. When they set the clocks up, okay, are you setting it up at exactly the same location at exactly the same time?
Yes.
And then you're moving it away.
Yes.
And then you're reading it at a different distance.
You're
getting the data from a different distance.
No. If you do it at a different distance, it should be the same. That's the point. When you go back,
then
you come back to it, that's when it's different.
That's the issue. At a different distance, it's not the same.
No,
it's because the data you're reading the data back from something that's further, and you're equating it to, hey, we set it to the same thing and where it was together. In the meantime, the things have moved apart from each other, and now you're getting a receiving data from that one that's further away and the receiving data at the same time, the one that's closer, and thinking, okay, there's a difference, so therefore time dilation.
No, the way that the experiment works. So also Einstein also pointed out is that like if someone goes near the speed of light, there's also time. Do you believe in that? Like if you go near the speed of light, there's time dilation.
I don't think I just explained to you why it's not time dilation. I think time dilation is misunderstood as just having frequency travel.
Sleeping Warrior says, "Don't let them use the gravity as a valve."
Yeah, look, we're not really here to attack them and stuff, mate. We're all just having fun discussion. It's really cool, and I mean, we're enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, okay, I guess my question would be:
I get what Sleeping Warrior is saying, though.
If you were saying that the clocks are different in different places, right? So say like we have one clock, both clocks are started on Earth. And then one person goes in a ship towards the sun, right? And then there's like you want to measure the difference in time. How would you be able to measure that difference?
That's what I'm saying. You are still on Earth measuring that distance, correct?
Yes.
So it's getting further away from you, so it's taking longer for the data to reach you. So it's appearing to go slower than the one that's by you, because the frequency takes longer to get to you. The issue also you have to understand is the one-way speed of light doesn't exist.
Yeah, that I know about. It's hard to like measure the one-way speed of light. We have the two-way speed of light. We just divide it by 2.
And that's also just conjecture. You gotta believe that there's a two-way, and that they travel the same speed both ways.
I just wanted to say that Einstein never did any experiments. It was just all calculations.
Yeah, but then people did experiments and proved his calculations.
They weren't experiments.
Einstein did experiments to find the two-way
experiment. And some of the things that he said, how can you prove them? Like, so it just doesn't make any sense.
No, Einstein never said that there is a one-way speed of light. Einstein had calculations for the two-way speed of light, and like using lasers and stuff. That's how we try to prove, like using a mirror to bounce back. That's how we try and prove the two-way speed of light. But we don't. We just divide that by 2 to find the one speed. That's just an assumption. We don't know that fully yet.
Yeah, use the interferometry.
So what I'm saying is using that logic, the one-way speed of light, we wouldn't be able to tell the difference of clocks when one person's in the sun and then one person's on Earth, because light or information takes time to travel, so it'd be hard to actually tell that. The only way would be if the person on the sun comes back to Earth and sees that the clocks are different.
Yeah, and we can't see that.
What do you mean?
So again, it's unverifiable.
Well, I mean, yeah, no one's flown to the sun yet.
Yeah. Well, they can go at night.
There you go.
But yeah.
So all of these things that we're talking about, all these things that we're talking about, like Flats has said, is like it's all unverifiable, right? You can't prove to me that the moon is a big rock, despite what you say, because everything points to them being deceitful for that whole trek, that whole moon landing was all deceit and lies, because there's actual footage of when they were faking that they were 100,000 miles by putting a transparency in the window of the LEM and turning out the lights and saying, "Oh, we got a shot of the moon," and the camera's in there, and then there's a guy's arm going in between the camera and the window. So there's so much deceit there, right? And you're talking about all of the deceit throughout, like, hundreds of years with everything, right? So none of this things that they're saying are fact are not verifiable, and we can't sit there and we can only speculate with things. Like, we can't say what the moon is because we can't go there to verify what it is. We can't even go to the Antarctic to verify everything, because and it's all speculation on what's there and how far it goes and everything, right? So there's so much secrecy and deceit around things that it just it actually solidifies things for me.
Okay, so then what would it take for you to like reconsider the shape of the Earth? Like, would you actually have to, go to the moon? And I guess this is a question for like all you guys. Like, what would it take for you to reconsider it?
Demonstration
well,
of gas pressure doesn't require
Yeah,
contact. Just one of them.
yeah. I mean, now, I mean, I couldn't be snapped out of it because there's nothing to be snapped out of. This is the truth. So, to totally prove me wrong, I would have to completely see it, and that's not going to happen. I mean, it's not going to happen.
Scott, I have a question for you. Do you believe in God?
I do not know. Well, okay, wait, I take that back. I don't know. I don't know.
You don't know. Okay.
I don't know.
Did you know that like close to 90% of the globe side in the debating side of things are atheists? Okay? And close to 99% of people that are of like where they know the flat earth are Christian or believe in a creator.
Or have a belief in a God, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mostly religious, yeah.
No, there's nothing religion about it. It's just
what he's trying
to truth.
Yeah, what he's trying to say is, don't you find it odd that if you believe like the flat earth and stuff, it leads you to a deduction that there has to be a God, a creator. And from the other side, the people that are fighting against it are atheists or people.
But I think there's a lot of Christians who believe, or there's a lot of religious people who believe in a God that also believe the Earth is round.
Our friend Nick, for example, he left. He firmly believes that the Earth is a sphere.
Every religious person I know believes that the Earth is round.
But the point we're trying to make is, our standpoint is, if you want to lie to people, and when you come from a religious look at the thing, Satan has all the reason to do what he's doing because he wants people to be away from God. And the flat earth, for instance, brings people towards God, where the heliocentric model takes people away from God. Do you understand? If you look at it, the religious point.
So then what about people who are religious that believe in the round Earth?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But how many people have actually left their faith because they all of a sudden believe in evolution or whatever because of the round Earth, the globe?
I mean, I think it's a very small percentage of people that believe in the flat Earth compared to people that believe in the round Earth.
You'd be surprised, man. You'd be very surprised.
Growing every day.
The numbers that they spout out about how many people do believe or are, that know, is a lot higher than you think. You know,
How many do you think it is?
I would probably. I can't really speculate.
Well, the
Really,
last time I heard in Brazil, and that was like 5 years ago, was 12 million flat earthers.
So 12 million out of 8 billion people?
That was like 5 years ago that I heard in Brazil alone.
Oh, in Brazil?
Mm.
So just to, like, when you have there's a lot of people that don't want to say that they are flat. They know that the Earth is flat because of the negative connotation attached to it. That's the other part of it, right? Because people think, oh, you're stupid for believing that. And then they go, okay, well, I don't want to say anything, so they keep it to themselves. It's like closet flat earthers.
But also,
there's a lot of them.
But you also got to think of it. It doesn't help to think of this in a consensus basis anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a school bus full of people and none of them know anything, but the one guy on the bus does know something. You understand? Doesn't make the majority smart just because they're the majority.
Yes. Okay.
Roger Little, thank you very much for your $5. Who says most God-fearing ball believers haven't looked into it.
Yeah.
That is also good. A lot of people haven't looked into it. Yeah.
And again, because of the negative connotation, right? When you have negative connotation, most people go, "Oh, people that think there is flat, they're considered stupid, so I don't even want to look into it." Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you guys have like shown like a lot of proof, kind of debunking. I'll say proof, debunking the globe Earth. What proof do you have to like prove true the flat Earth?
Or we can demonstrate flat surfaces bottom-up obstruction, which is claimed to be for the globe, but we can claim it on flat Earth. We can explain many things based on optics, which is hijacked for the globe, and we can just sit and observe and say, look, we don't have any rotation, so therefore it's stationary. We require containment to breathe. This is based on physics. And
what do you mean containment?
The list is ongoing.
I'll tell you that.
You can't have gas pressure without containment.
Like a scuba tank. Like you can't just have like pressurized like a scuba tank.
Okay, the air we breathe, you know what the pressure of the air around us is? It's 14 psi. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So you have 14 psi pressure. That pressure only exists because of the containment. Right?
Like there's
what is the containment?
Like the dome, the firmament.
The firmament.
Like you know how you have like a pressurized water bottle, like it's sealed, it's airtight. Earth is airtight, is what they're saying.
Oh, so like no atmosphere. It's just like a dome. We're in a flying dome.
No, there's an atmosphere inside the dome.
Oh.
So I had a question.
Because that's how we try and explain. That's how we try and explain to the people we live in a dynamic system. Okay, so
do you believe that God built the dome?
Yeah, sorry?
Of course.
Do you believe that God built the dome?
Yes, he did, because it says in Genesis that he did.
Okay.
On the third day.
Yeah.
So why would you believe in the Bible and not like a physics textbook? Like, what is it about the Bible that everything in it is true? Like,
I've got an answer to that.
Sure.
I just want to say, Roger Little, thank you for your $2 switch. It says the first fail in the globe is the last. Thank you very much, Roger. I appreciate it. I've got an answer to that. Have you ever heard the phrase, "A bottom of every atheist cup is God"?
I haven't heard of that.
No, I haven't heard.
Okay, so what that means is everything that you guys base your belief upon, that there is no God, that we just evolved from nothing. If you dig down to the bottom foundations of it, there has to be a God, because it goes back to the ontological primitives. And the ontological primitives is simple. Either God did it or nature created itself. Based on natural law, nature can't create itself. So at the bottom of it all, God had to create nature.
So because of that, the Bible is true? But the Bible wasn't the Bible translated a bunch of times? Like, why should you take it
The
like that
Bible's
literally?
just the
They have
Bible's
the
still
original
man-made.
writing.
It's still natural. It's written ink and paper.
Yeah.
God is supernatural.
Yeah. Like the writings of people. Yes, there's translations, multiple translations, and some of them kind of stray from what it really truly says, right? But you also have to remember that the original writings were written by man as well, but they were the inspiration of God. Okay.
So God was like talking to them.
I'm sorry.
So was God talking to them? Like, was he telling him to
Yes.
write it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Because
did you
God
hear-
actually talked to Moses, and
Face to face.
face to face. And when you read the Exodus account, it talks about the fire on Mount Sinai, and there's only one mountain that the top of it is burnt from
And
the
you can go
fire.
today.
Yeah, and you can go to that mountain
can go
today,
there
and you can
today.
actually see it. The top of the mountain is burnt. The rest of the mountain is fine, but that top of the mountain is burnt, and that's from when fire, the pillar of fire, when God was speaking with Moses on top of Mount Sinai.
And you
And
can
that's
go to
first
Sodom
thing.
and Gomorrah today. You can
Yeah.
see those sulfur balls, which is lodged into Sodom and Gomorrah. It's the only place on earth which is 99% pure sulfur. You don't get it anywhere else on earth. And that's specifically where the Bible says happened with Sodom and Gomorrah. There's so many archaeological historical facts that show everything in the Bible to be true. The Bible's the only book in history that has more evidence for it and archaeological backing than any other historical manuscript in history.
Okay, but you said that there's a lot of archaeological evidence that proves the Bible to be true. What about all the evidence that proves it to be wrong? Like the people that say the Earth is
what proves
4
it to be
billion years
wrong?
old.
What
Well,
proves it to be
carbon
wrong?
dating shows that the Earth is
Carbon
about
dating
4
is a fallacy. It does not
can-
actually accurately to predict that. I'm sorry, it's wrong.
I can debunk carbon dating quickly. Do you know what carbon-14 is?
I've heard of it. I'm not a chemistry
Yeah,
guy. I don't.
it has a half-life of a few thousand years. Okay?
Yeah.
You know diamonds have carbon-14 in them.
Yeah, that's how diamonds are created. It's like compressed carbon, isn't it?
Yeah.
So why would diamonds that are supposed to be billions of years old have carbon-14 in them?
I don't understand the question.
I don't know much about that.
That's how diamonds would be created. Though. Diamonds would be created by like heavily compressed and pressurized like carbon.
And they shouldn't have carbon-14 in them because they're supposed to be billions of years old. It only has a half-life of a few thousand years.
Okay.
So carbon dating is bogus, just to let you know.
Yeah. The only dating that they have that is actually really accurate is helium dating. That's the only one that's like.
They like to do radiometric dating as well today, but even that has its inconsistencies.
What makes helium dating better than carbon dating?
I'm not exactly sure on the whole physics of it, though. I just started reading into it, so I just know someone that knows a little bit more on that. You can ask what's his name, Dustin Nemos. He's a little bit more read up on that than I am. So
second best, Bob. Thank you for your £2 super chat. Says which Bible is the right one? Simple, all of them. Okay, guys. Unfortunately, I got to end it here. I got to get up at 4 o'clock. It's already 11:15.
I just have one more question.
Yeah.
Before I let you. So, what kind of experiments do you think could be done to, like, once and for all, like, prove the Earth is flat or round? Like, what's like one? Are there any experiments that could just once and for all prove it, or
the one
that push the line? That force the line was a good. Force the line was a good thought experiment. It was a good experiment for it, but it was going to be too expensive, so they didn't do it. But it's a good idea, isn't it?
Yeah, from Brian Mullen. Force the line. Actually,
yeah. Force the line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go look up Brian Mullen. Force the line, and then you'll see what
Yeah.
is said. That should be a good one.
Brian.
It was so fundamental that he had a glober call in and on his boss and tell him he's a flat earther to try and get him fired. That he had to make a choice to leave his flat earth content behind or lose his engineering certificate.
That's right.
Well, it was a pleasure talking to you guys.
You
I hope
guys
we can.
too.
I hope we can do this
Bless
again.
you,
But
man.
I got to get through.
Yeah,
finals.
good show, guys. Good show.
Yeah. Just and let Nick know he's also. It would be awesome to chat to him about the Bible sometime.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I wasn't here for half of it though.
Well, and
I
tell
was
him
talking
God
to,
bless for us. But you, I'll say God bless to you as well.
You guys rock. Yes.
Yeah,
God, and you
God
guys are
bless.
awesome. Really awesome
Good show,
guests.
guys.
So really shout out to you guys. You guys showed more how can I put it, grown up behavior than most of the so-called grown-ups we debate here.
I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, you guys rock. Enjoy the rest of your day. Appreciate you
Yes,
guys.
you too.
Cheers.
Bye, bye, guys.
Bye. Yeah. So, guys, that was a good show. I think you guys would agree.
It was. It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. What I seen of it, I had to talk to. I was talking to conspiracy pundits. So what I've done is I've recorded the conversation. We had a bit of a nightmare with sound halfway through, so I made another link and got him back in again and recorded the rest of it. So I'll join the two together and I'll put it in your DMs in Element when I'm done.
Awesome. Thanks.
Just so you know, it's about 20 odd minutes worth of talk, and I don't. He was just letting me know who he was and letting us know who he was and all that, and telling us a bit about himself. So, I'll sort it out. He said it was okay to record it and that, so I'll sort that out and then I'll put it in your DM.
Shot. Thanks.
In Element.
Oh yeah. So that was a good discussion, man.
It was what I heard of it. Definitely.
So thanks
Nice
everybody
and
for
chill.
coming. Yeah, it was really good. Good to see you too, by the way, Dislord. Yeah.
I just didn't want to say anything. It was going so well.
But yeah, it was great. Thanks everybody in the chats for coming. Thank you for the super chats, all the likes and shares. If you haven't already, just hit the like, please. It does help the show to grow. Appreciate you all. I appreciate you guys on the panel as well. I'm sure you guys enjoyed the chat. I think Jeff was out of his skin enjoying the chat.
Yeah, man.
I enjoyed
Did
it.
well,
I
didn't
think
he?
it was awesome.
Yeah,
Nice, Jeff, with the
So, sorry.
you got the paint out.
that's for
didn't you?
sure.
Demonstrations and that. I loved it.
Yeah, I brought out the paint. Not as good as Flats does with paint, but
You did well, man.
Oh man.
Loved it.
No, these guys are cool. I like them.
Yeah, they're sound.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, guys, thank you for coming. Appreciate you all. I'll see you then tomorrow night for another awesome stream. And yeah, you guys have an awesome evening further. May the